I am questioning and broad-minded. So I think I must.
Whatever the special is.
Like, that's probably a roast beef, right?
G'day! I'm Dave. I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore for Call of Cthulhu on Chaosium Stream of Chaos. So today, we're playing the second scenario from Mansions of Madness. It's the Cracked and Crook'd Manse, and this scenario is available on chaosium.com. Now, all of our previous live plays, including our most recent, Mr. Corbett from the same book, are available on the Chaosium YouTube. And if you enjoy our content, follow the channels and leave us a comment. I'd also like to thank Roll20, Sirenscape, and Web Captioner for being great tools which provide us help running Call of Cthulhu. There's links to everything I've just mentioned in descriptions here and on YouTube. So, as we jump into tonight / this / whatever's game, our three investigators are roaring along a dirt road from Boston to a little town called Gamwell, where an old friend of one of the investigators has gone missing. Now, as we go around the car, I'd like each of you to introduce your investigator, say what you look like, and how have you been enjoying the trip so far? So, Art, why don't you kick us off?
Hi, I'm Art. I'm playing Monkey, a individual of indeterminate age and sex, I think is probably the easiest way. They look about 12, they're not. They are attired in a motley collection of clothing you would find from costume departments, like op shops, and other people's wardrobes.
Okay.
Probably.
Speaking of other people's wardrobes, what do you do for a living, Monkey?
I'm an acrobat.
Mm-hmm. In other people's houses late at night when they don't know you're there.
No, I'm actually, I was part of a traveling circus for a while, so, you know, I do, in fact, do acrobatics. I'm quite good at jumping. I'm relatively good at throwing, sometimes at police. Monkey, I think, Monkey's, the trip's been fine. Monkey's used to traveling for distances with not much going on with a traveling circus. Their companions this time around are probably a little less eccentric, although maybe not.
Still odd.
And I think they're sitting in the back of the car, currently like reading through the day's newspaper, just trying to find something engaging.
Perfect. Yep. So you're sort of curled up in the back seat, and I think next to you, or unless you've taken the passenger seat, Jackson.
Hey, I'm Jackson. I'm playing Dr. Bradley Fogarty, psychologist extraordinaire and well-regarded been therapist. He is sitting in the car. His suit's looking a little bit rumpled, and he keeps glancing down at the pocket watch because he's not sure exactly how long this trip is going to take when he signed up for it, but he's doing his best to remain patient and keeping himself occupied with his various drafts and papers and probably some newspapers as well. Just doing his best to wait out the trip.
You took a bit of leave, I guess, from your work as a psychologist, psychotherapist, demon analyst, recently to care for your mother. What kind of window were you looking at? Are you going to be getting back to the mundane mortal world soon, or?
No, it looks a bit boring now, because he's had 2 run-ins with the mythos, and that's the new frontier in psychology. Is, you know, these alien minds. Not that he's published anything to that kind of regard yet, because that will get him locked up. But he's hoping once he's collected enough data to write a fascinating paper on all the demons and monsters that seem to be dwelling in the basements of mansions all across the country. I feel like there's at least 4 more of them to find. Yeah.
No, fantastic. And finally, Jim.
Yes, I am Jim, and I am playing Isabella Watch, explorer, and in general, person who is fabulous in every way. At the front of the car, I've let the window down, I've got a scarf billowing out, and I'm enjoying the speed. I think I've got a pair of those driving goggles, which I've plastered across the front of my face, and I'm white-knuckling the steering wheel. I'm in a little like Model T, so it's not exactly roaring along, but it's reaching almost
Pretty sure the max
miles an
speed.
hour.
Yeah.
Steer through.
You can get a bit of momentum going, take each corner on 2 wheels. Fantastic.
Yes, I'm not a good driver, by the way. I'm just fast, and there's no one on these roads, so it doesn't matter.
So we were just doing credit rating advancements before we kicked off the stream, and we were saying Isabella's an explorer, so it's a bit hard to see how they've been gainfully employed in a month in Boston. But you're planning an expedition, is that right? Do you have any idea where you might be going
That's
yet?
right.
What are you
So
seeking funding for?
Yeah. So not only did I, do a credit rating advancement, I scored 10 points on it, the maximum, which doubled my credit rating because I've been on that grind trying to get a job to work, but now it's coming together. And I think that, well, we're heading to visit Arthur Cornthwaite, which I think we'll, of course, be talking about in a minute because we have some handouts to that effect. I think Arthur was probably booked for an expedition, and I think I probably got the article and thought, well, they're going to need someone, and managed to use that as an in. So I've picked up Arthur's next job.
Okay, so when the famed explorer went missing, your first thought was, ooh, career opportunity.
It wasn't my first thought, but, much like I have learnt from my various deceased fiancés, when tragedy strikes, you have to look for the next opportunity to find love, or in this case, money.
Fantastic. All right, well, ever the opportunist. As Isabella suggested, we're going to begin with looking at a couple of handouts because Isabella's gotten a letter, and enclosed alongside it was a cutout from a newspaper. So let's take a look. And Jackson, if Bradley can read the first letter, which Isabella received, and then Monkey's curled up next to them with the newspaper clipping. Sonny, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is a letter from Dodge Brothers, attorneys at law of 14 Main Street, Gamwell. It is dated July 30th, 1925, and it is addressed to Ms. Isabella Watch. And it says, "Dear Ms. Watch, I have been referred to you by a mutual friend. As his attorney, I am very interested in locating the missing Mr. Arthur Cornthwaite, and our associate mentioned your name as being one skilled in locating missing people, particularly those of Mr. Cornthwaite's persuasion. Thus, I have taken the liberty of contacting you. I am a partner of an established legal firm in Gamwell. Mr. Arthur Cornthwaite is one of our clients, and as his attorneys, we hold certain documents in trust for him. It would appear that Mr. Cornthwaite has departed without notifying us of his movements. This leaves us in a quandary as how to manage his estate in his absence without his authority on such matters. We would like you to locate Mr. Cornthwaite and obtain from him his wishes in respect of this matter, or better still, request that he contact us. If it should, heaven forbid, transpire that Mr. Cornthwaite is no longer with us, then we will need some evidence of the same to proceed with his wishes outlined in his last will and testament. Hopefully, this is an unnecessary contingency, but one which we must nevertheless consider in the light of Mr. Cornthwaite's mysterious departure. I hope that you are free to give this matter your immediate attention and would like to extend an invitation for you to attend an interview at our offices as soon as is convenient to discuss both the details of the situation and your professional fees. Anticipating a prompt reply, yours faithfully, Walter Dodge."
Fantastic, thank you. So that's the first letter which you received, and it was addressed to Isabella because you previously knew Arthur. It's also amusing that your link to his persuasion is that you're both adventurers and explorers.
Explorers, exactly. Yes, I like to think for reference. I know that Arthur. I've said previously that I haven't been to the poles because I know that there's some spooky things in the poles. So I guess Arthur and I might have done some exploring in the Himalayas or like Central America or something like that. but we probably met on an expedition once.
Part of it's also just in circles. You know, you guys attend functions where people are trying to get money, so you were colleagues. You may have done minor expeditions, but you weren't the best of friends. You knew one another. So attached to it is a clipping, and it's dated quite recently as well. Art, could you have a look at this one?
Sure. The Gamwell Gazette, titled Gamwell Millionaire Absent, titled January the 17th, 1925. Gamwell's most prosperous son, Arthur Cornthwaite, will not be seen at church over the next few weeks. Mr. Cornthwaite has apparently left the area for a time, possibly for a vacation, or in relation to his studies. Some mystery surrounds Mr. Cornthwaite's departure, as it came without notice. However, an inspection of his mansion and grounds by Sheriff Whitford has revealed no cause for alarm. It's revealed. The last person to speak to Mr. Cornthwaite was his attorney, Mr. Walter Dodge, on the 7th of this month. At this time, he gave no indication of his imminent departure, but according to Mr. Dodge, he did seem quite preoccupied, no doubt with his travel plans. We all know well that besides being a Gamwell landowner, Mr. Cornthwaite is also a millionaire, a scholar, a philanthropist, and an explorer. He may well be off laying the groundwork for some future exciting expedition, or perhaps just relaxing for a time in New York. Gamwell citizens will no doubt remember fondly Mr. Cornthwaite's numerous generous donations to local charities and to the town library, and join with us in wishing him a safe and happy journey.
Oh,
The closest I can get to a BBC accent from me.
That's pretty
very
good.
good.
That's pretty good.
Well,
It's kind of messed up, isn't it? You go on holiday and your local newspaper writes a piece about you because you just gone out for a walk or a
towns
trip
like
overseas.
these don't tend to have much happening in them, and I suppose that they need to make a news day somehow. I'm a little concerned because I'll have you remember the last person that we spoke to, who was a pillar of the community, ended up trying to murder people. And I hope that Arthur Cornthwaite doesn't have, the police in his pocket and is still lurking around with a bunch of knives or something of the sort.
I mean, Cousin Isabel and Uncle Brad, you both know really weird people.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I'm friends with mine. Bradley, you just treat them, I suppose.
Well, yes, those aren't exactly friends, but I see what you're saying.
Okay, well then you have some really weird neighbors, I guess.
That's
That
for
is
sure.
absolutely true. So, as you pull into Gamwell, you see this off the road town. There is a scattered few buildings, a boarding house, a sort of a mum and pop shop. There's the sheriff's office, a tiny library, and off Main Street, which is the only street, there is the firm of the Dodge brothers, the attorneys for the missing Arthur Cornthwaite. This is the sort of place, all of Gamwell, where you would stop briefly to get refreshments before continuing on, and the surrounding area is farmland where a lot of people have paddocks and things for, I don't know what the type of farm around here would be, cattle maybe, and they would come into town to resupply occasionally. So the back of the mum and pop shop has bulk supplies of feed and shovels and things. What do the three of you want to do?
Well, I suppose our first step should get some lunch, but then I suppose we might want to go and visit this established law firm and have a word with the people who we're supposedly going to be helping. They might be able to provide us with more information, and I suppose a key to Arthur's house might be useful.
Well, hold on. The letter does say that we should attend an interview as soon as is convenient. I think the law office should be our first stop here.
I suppose. It was a long drive, and oh yes, Monkey.
I can go get sandwiches if you want to go talk to the law people. I don't really, get
Monkey needs to
the
go
law.
get sandwiches, Bradley.
Well, that's fine with me.
Okay,
Excellent.
what do you want?
Bradley will take
existential
tuna.
questions about my character's sandwich preference.
Check
I
your
haven't done that
backstory. Do
level
you
of
not have this
background
written?
work.
Yeah,
Don't you have this written on the back of your sheet?
I know something about Monkey. Firmly no tomatoes.
All right, there you go. I'll have whatever you're having, Monkey.
Okay.
I am questioning and broad-minded. So I think I
Whatever
must.
the
I think,
special is.
Like, that's probably a roast beef, right? Yeah. All right. I learned something about Bradley today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll go get sandwiches.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.
And Monkey's just gonna dart off.
Okay, so
We'll
Monkey
start
nips
looking for this
over to the
office.
mum and pup shop. Isabella and Brad both head up to the Dodge Brothers offices. So, the offices are drab. Everything's brown or beige. Those seem to be the working colors. They have no secretary, and the small room that they operate out of is a sad little affair. As you come in, you see the three siblings, each one slightly taller than the other, but none larger than sort of 5'6" or so. And they're all stooped over a table in the center of the room. You can't see what they're looking at, but they're doing so with keen gazes, like they're operating. They don't hear you come in.
Hello. Sorry, chaps. Can we have a word?
Two of them turn around and I don't know, say, yes. Please come inside. You Ms. Watch?
That's right. Yes, I see my reputation precedes me.
Yes,
Or maybe
well,
I just look a certain way.
we sent the letter, and we presumed after your response that you would be the soonest to arrive. And this is.
Yes, this is my cousin, Dr. Bradley Fogarty, an expert in psychology. I suppose that should anyone be able to dissect exactly the movements of Arthur, this man would be the one for it.
I'd be happy to lend a hand where I can.
He can tell what you're thinking right now, I guarantee it.
Well, I'm sorry, hang on. You said you are a doctor, is that right? Have you an analytical mind, sir?
Well, I think that's fair to say. The science of psychology is indeed about analysis, yes.
Then please, resolve this for my brothers and I. Sorry, I'm Reginald, this is Walter and Herbert. And they step away to reveal on the table, conveniently based on what we were previously saying, there is an unfurled piece of like wax paper. And seated atop it is a tuna fish sandwich with 3 times the amount of appropriate tuna between 2 white pieces of bread. Herbert is holding a butter knife, and he says, "There are 3 of us, Doctor, and all of us like the crust."
Oh my god, sandwich themed RPG.
Goodness. Oh, well, that is quite the quandary you have.
Herbert steps forward and takes the knife, and he said, "I propose we cut it down the center into 3 equal allotments, but I shan't eat the center piece. As said, I also enjoy the crust."
Well, I suppose you could start by cutting it into quarters, and
Then what of the 4th piece, Doctor?
well, I was getting to that. Look, no, this is a mathematician's quandary. I don't have
You
any
yield?
special
I beg to differ.
technique in geometry.
I beg to differ. It's a survivalist's quandary. I know how to make rations stretch when you need them. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to cut off all of the crusts from the entire sandwich. Then you can divide the crusts into sections and provide them to each other. Then you simply divide the sandwich as per normal. Each one is, if not happy, at least equally served.
They look to each other, and none of them can think of a flaw in the plan. So Walter sets to trimming off the crust from the sandwich. It's got way too much tuna, so it's basically just mauling the thing into a wet mess, and then dividing the thing out between the 3 of them. As Reginald steps around to the other side of the desk and says, "Now on to the missing Arthur's affairs.
Yes, on to less important matters.
Please take a seat." As mentioned in the letter which we sent you, Mr. Cornthwaite has been missing for some time, it now being early February, and the last time he was spoken to sometime in early January. What we'd like you to do is to locate the missing man, and we'll pay you $100 for your service. Additionally, as we have not days or weeks of time to waste. We would prefer this to be done quickly. Another $100 will be given if can be seen to within the week. I see you've brought a friend. Dr. Bradley, do you work for a fee, or is this a charity work?
Oh, well, no, if there is a certain amount offered for services rendered, then I think that's probably shared between all participating parties. That's fine.
Like the crusts of a sandwich, we shall divide the wealth equally.
Very good, then. Very good indeed. I have keys. He goes into a drawer and withdraws 2 keys, the front door and the back door. Otherwise, you're free to ask about town. I'm not sure that anyone will have any great news, but yes.
I have a couple of questions before we leave. Do you mind terribly?
No, it's fine. He looks forlornly into the corner where the other 2 are beginning to eat.
Well, look, very quickly, you said you're running up against a deadline of some sort. Is this just, the effective management, or is there a specific date you're trying to resolve things before?
Understand that Arthur Cornthwaite sits on a very valuable property, and if he is, God willing, God unwilling, deceased, we would like to sell the property as soon as available, and make sure that we recoup some of our expenses. Speaking of which, the property is not to be damaged. If you do find yourself there, it is, as I've said, valuable.
I entirely understand. We will leave it in exactly the nick that we found it. Could I please make a psychology test? In fact, could I just glance across at Bradley, whose area of expertise this is? When the Dodge brother in question makes that, slight stutter, which I think might have been a keeper stutter, but all the same, are they kind of happy he's dead? Does this mean they're going to get a nice, fat, juicy cut of some kind of thing? Also, I just assumed he's dead because it's Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, Bradley, do you want to make a psychology roll?
Yeah.
I will say it's going to be hard because currently his attention is focused elsewhere.
Okay. You want a hard? There's your hard.
Oh,
You can
nice.
see his biggest priority right now is getting to his lunch break, and he really does see this as a bit irritating. That said, they will make a lot of money from the sale of this house, and looking around the area,
Really?
they don't have a lot of funds to squeeze between them. You don't know they necessarily killed the man, but they do seem slightly hopeful that he might just be missing. And they're kind of they've brought in a bunch of investigators, and they're like, even if he's just not there, it's been long enough, we can probably argue that we should be able to sell the house by now.
Not necessarily sure that he killed him. Not exactly.
You hope
All
it's
right.
tuna.
I also get the impression that maybe they don't have a lot to do with their days. Maybe they don't have a lot of clients, and that's why they can spend a lot of time on sandwiches.
The chair where the client comes in to sit at still has a cloth over it, it clearly hasn't been used in some time. No, this is a very
And there's 3 of them.
yeah.
Well, we'd best let you get back to your work then. Thank you for answering.
Yes. Yes. He's edging around towards the lunch. We do have we manage his accounts and things. I don't know if that's of any interest to the 2 of you.
That might be good, actually.
Any kind of records could be used to glean insight into the man.
You won't be permitted to leave with them, as there are privacy issues, but anytime you're welcome to sit with us and to read through them yourself.
Certainly. Well, we best go have a word with... all right, thank you, and we'll take our leave.
Okay. No, go ahead.
As we get outside, I'm going to turn to you and then immediately express, just see though, only murderers eat that much wet tuna bread.
More likely, the sandwich maker was just trying to get rid of all the tuna before it went bad.
And that's equally likely. Speaking of, where's Monkey? Let's see what. Hello.
Well, no. So hang on. Let's actually jump to Monkey. It's not going to be life-threatening, but as you head into the small mom-and-pop shop, it's run by a mom-and-pop pair, Hank and Edith Haggerty, and as you come in, they're pretty eager to sell you something. They don't get a ton of traffic in and out, so any coin you're willing to part with is useful. You walk down like shelves of groceries, firearms, rope, just everything a general store could require. And you get to the back where there's a little counter and underneath it, a medley of sandwich choices and ingredients. You begin to like tell the order and everything. And the bloke behind the counter, Hank, says, so why exactly are you in Gamwell?
My cousin.
Your cousin lives around here, or?
No, she knows someone, and she gets bored when she's traveling on her own, so we came with her just, to keep her company, because otherwise she finds husbands, I think. I'm not really sure.
She collects them?
More, I think she loses them and then needs to find more.
Well, that's dreadfully sad, I think. Okay, well, if you need anything, let me get this for you. And he continues to wrap up. They're clearly just a bit of a gossip, and the town has little else going on. Your sandwiches are provided for little, and when you return, Brad and Isabella are exiting the attorney's office.
Monkey, fantastic. What a delicious treat did you get for yourself and therefore me?
Oh, ham, cheese, lettuce, well, something wilted and green.
I see.
Might have been lettuce.
Will be.
But it was tasty. It's got some kind of like sauce in it. I'm not really sure what. And I'll have so ours is like kind of standard sort of thick cut ham and cheese and maybe like some, I would say mayo, but something kind of relishy.
Yep.
And then Uncle Brad's got like roast beef, but it's one of those roast beef sandwiches that's also like covered in gravy. Like,
Oh, very
nice.
nice.
Because when you say roast beef, I'm pretty sure it's not just beef in a nice sandwich, it's sort of like a whole fucking thing.
Been dipped.
So yours sort of like
That's
a
deluxe
slightly
treatment.
wet mush in a packaging. I'm
Adventurous.
roast beef.
All right. It looks delicious, Bradley. Now, come on, let's have it, and we'll gather around like our car and eat on the bonnet as we
I think Monkey's already scarfed theirs between like
Oh, okay.
it's just like comes out and then hands the sandwiches. It's just gonna happily sit on the bonnet and just like swing their legs.
Perfect. And as we shall say, so we've got the basic information. I catch you up to date, Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say, I think that there's a couple of obvious steps. I think that these records done by Arthur could be useful. I'd like to go and have a look at them, see if I can, and you tell me if this is going to be at all possible, Keeper Dave. I'd like to try and flavor a navigate check for it. My argument is that I specifically want to look at whether he was planning an expedition. I don't want to be able to decode anything interesting about his purchasing history and anything about his resources. I'm specifically looking for the signs that I would be looking for, whether he is like trying to get to and trying to buy, a trip to one part of the world.
That's a good idea. You'll need to go up and spend some time there, but you
Of
can
course, yeah,
intend to do
I'm
that. Yes,
anticipating
and
that.
I would take navigate or education, given it's your career path.
Okay, brilliant. Great. Meanwhile, I suppose the two of you might be able to make some inquiries about town.
Yes, I was thinking since the local newspaper is so keen to write about a man going on holiday, I might pay them a visit and see what else they could know.
I suppose the only other thing that we might want to do is the article mentioned a sheriff who examined the property. Would it be worth speaking to them?
Perhaps.
Monkey, you're not so keen on sheriffs?
I mean, they're fine, I guess.
I think.
Aren't usually very smart.
Well, I think that Bradley should be able to draw a comment or two out of anybody with his psychology skills. So would the two of you care to have a word with those folks, and I'll head back into the offices to see if I can decode the writings?
Sounds fine.
Excellent. Well, then let's meet back here in a couple of hours, and I suppose we'll see. What time is it about now?
Lunch. 1 p.m.
Meet back perhaps around 2:30 or 3, and then see if we can't make it over to the to the Cornthwaite Manor itself before evening.
How far away is the house?
How far away is the house?
10 miles or so not very far.
Excellent. Well, good we have the car.
There is also a boarding house in town, which, as part of your fee, Isabella, you have had booked for the duration, basically for as long as you need it.
Right.
So it's available to you. All right, so Isabella, you're going to go back into the attorney's office.
That's right.
Monkey and Brad, do you want to hit the sheriff first, or do you want to go and try and locate a newspaper guy?
The sheriff's probably more accessible. So I think we'll start with the newspaper and see what we find.
Sure. Okay. The Gamwell Gazette, which has run out of Gamwell for yonks, is basically run out of this guy's house, a gentleman called Stan Artemis, who has been the editor for the paper since he was a boy and signed on to just help write a draft copy for some of the columns. He is a large, jovial man, and the house, which the newspaper runs out of, is filled to the brim with stacked boxes piled with newspapers, old receipts, books relevant to research that never got returned to the library, and so forth. As you're pointed to it by a just local, you knock on the door and the man opens it, beaming. He says, "Well, howdy, what can I do for the two of you?"
I'm Dr. Brad Fogarty out of Boston, and this is my associate, Monkey.
Monkey.
We were wondering if we could have a few words about, the missing Mr. Cornthwaite.
Well, certainly. He takes his hat off and holds it over his chest and goes, "Pleased to meet you, Monkey, and pleased to meet you, Doctor. I'm Stan Artemis. I run the newspaper here, and if you don't mind, everything we talk about, I'd like to be able to print it, just in case it's interesting. I like to get that out of the way up front in case something interesting happens."
Well, we don't expect any interesting things to happen today. I'm sorry to
you never know.
disappoint you in advance. No, I suppose you don't. Look, the fact of the matter is, I believe that Mr. Cornthwaite here has just had a flight of fancy and decided to take a holiday somewhere, and I don't think there's anything untoward. But just to be sure, I'd like to know what you have on the matter, and anything you may not have printed. We read your article; it was very informative.
Well, I pride myself on being informative, exciting, really any adjective that I choose at the time. It is so Arthur Cornthwaite. How do you know the man?
Oh, well, he's associate of my cousin, Isabella, and Isabella's been contacted and see if she can't turn him up. So
I'm sorry,
we're
you're
along for the ride.
Your cousin's an associate of the Explorer. Is she an explorer herself?
Well, yes, she is. I
Two
wouldn't deign
explorers
to...
in Gamwell. This is exciting. This is exciting. I'm glad I prefaced this conversation. Won't the two of you come inside, and will your cousin be joining us?
Perhaps not. She's occupied elsewhere, but I'm sure I could line up an appointment.
Oh, would you?
I will certainly try.
Well,
She has lots of interesting stories about husbands.
Does she? Well, that sounds perfect. He grabs your
thinking
hand
to
and
myself.
shakes it and goes, "It's a deal then. It's a promise."
No, I'm thinking to myself, if I get Isabella to this man, then we'll be stuck here for days on end.
It's a good read. He draws the two of you into the house and heads over to a small couch that's been overstuffed with cushioning, and clears off several of the boxes so that there's just enough space for the two of you to sit very close to one another, and then he just sits on top of a box on a chair facing the two of you. He says, "Now, I agree, Arthur Cornthwaite could have just torn off across the continent on some amazing adventure, but I'm sure he would have let me know if he could. No, it's much more likely that he's been killed on account of the cursed house."
Yes, much more likely.
I'm just saying, I mean, 3 times one house. It was only built in late 60s, and I mean, disaster after disaster after disaster. I tried to get up there myself, but place is locked up tight, and my reporter, Joe Varelli, is having a look around there now.
Really? Well, do tell us more. The house has got some significant local history attached to it.
Oh, more than just local. There's been a few books written about it. I don't think they ever saw real mainstream success, but they were quite well done. I wrote a portion of it. No, but some 60 years ago when the house was built, a young man returning home from war shot and killed all of his surviving family. Then some 30 years after that, a couple of out-of-towners, New York types, weren't real suited to country living, and the older gentleman broke. Something inside of him snapped, and he gutted his family, including his 2 young daughters, and, well, he was never caught, so maybe there's your culprit. And, I mean, now Arthur Cornthwaite's missing. I mean, disaster after disaster. House can't win.
Did Mr. Cornthwaite not live alone?
He did, yes.
So there could be no one there to be driven mad by any such curse and kill him himself.
Well, I suppose that's true. Mayhaps he attacked himself, or perhaps the Kerwin, the second gentleman, returned and gutted him while he slept. Do you think that's likely? Do you think that's possible? Do you think that may have happened?
Well, in our profession, we entertain all possibilities until proven otherwise.
Okay, all right. Well, a doctor verifies a potential of murder in Gamwell.
Well, in so much as there is potential for, flying saucers to touch down in Gamwell.
Confirms aliens land in Gamwell.
No,
this is gonna be good.
This is simply a point of logic to say that we are here to find the facts such as they are, and we will entertain any such story until they are confirmed.
Mr. Artemis.
Yes, he's writing down furiously on a small notepad.
You know, stories are generally kind of more interesting when they're done. So maybe if we were to say, give you exclusive rights to what we find out story-wise in the house, you could maybe not publish anything in your paper until after we're back, just in case, other people try and get in the house and damage it and maybe get killed by whatever curse is there.
I see.
Demons, I guess.
So this is your little arrangement, is it? This one teases the good information, and this one's the hard hitter. Here to make sure that the deal gets done. I see the team. I see the duo. Potent. Do you want to give me a persuasion or
No. I can.
I mean, the logic sounds, just can you convince him to sit on this and to make a deal?
Probably not. Given that all of my interpersonal skills are base.
Oh, God.
It's always
Persuade,
worth
you
a shot.
say? All right.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, no,
so
not
close.
quite.
So
Would you like to
close.
push the roll?
No.
It would also no. I don't think you do. All right. So he's
just like, maybe don't print the thing until afterwards, because then you won't get exclusive rights to the whole story, because other people might find out the rest of the story, and that would kind of suck.
he manages to kind of twist that into I'll get exclusive rights and the story's only going to get better. It doesn't sound like he's going to publish anything immediately, but he is eager to get something out as soon as possible. And by the time he's finished writing, he's reached over and shaken your hand no more than 3 more times, just trying to basically, by saying it enough, a deal has been made, even though Bradley, I don't think, ever really agrees to anything. It just keeps getting his hand shaken earnestly. Is there anything more you'd like to ask the gentleman?
I guess, does Mr. Cornthwaite often have flights of fancy? You said he's an explorer. Is this Is this a particularly unusual disappearance to warrant an article in a newspaper?
Oh, well, as you said, Explorer, he's an exciting man. Much more exciting than most of the goings-on series. Had expeditions in the past. Not recently, no. He had a journey to South America a few years ago that, I don't know, well, something must have not gone too well. He returned and it's been a bit of a shut-in since then. Fewer attendances, local charities and drives. I think we've got a sack race he didn't turn up to. Used to love a sack race.
So this could be a return to form for him. This could be, him re-emerging into the world and finding his place in it once more.
Or it could be some combination of aliens, murderer,
Curses?
and expedition. The curse is undoubtedly factored in.
Did you say there were 3 people or 3 times the house is cursed people? Because you only mentioned 2.
Oh, this is the third. We're observing it now. Yes, it's exciting times, and to happen while I'm editor. Oof, what a victory for me!
All right. Well, this was an enlightening conversation. Thank you, Mr.
Stan Artemis.
Oh, Stan Artemis. Yes, Stan Artemis. We'll be in touch if we can be any more of assistance to you, and you can to us.
Oh, I expect you will. And he grabs your hand and stares deep into your eyes.
While he's staring at Uncle Brad, is there anything shiny?
Make an appraise check.
I didn't say expensive. I said shiny.
Yeah, he's got the pen that he was scratching away at, like, in his notepad. He has put slightly haphazardly into his jacket pocket, so that it glints on it, and it's just about to tip out.
I would like it, please.
Do you want to make a sleight of hand roll?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Aw.
Oh my god.
It's not because you're over 50, but it's not great. He's going to see you going for it. You could push the roll, which will involve very visibly stealing it from him. There's no walking it back. Or you can just accept that you're not getting it, and he kind of looks at you weirdly and bats your hand away.
Oh, I'll just be like, I like your pen was cool. I just wanted to see it. Sorry, I should have asked first.
Yes.
I'm not very good at asking.
You should have. He leans down, low, and treating you like a child, pulls out the pen and says, "Understand, monkey. This is a writer's greatest tool. You mustn't touch a writer's pen, monkey. For with this, the mind bleeds to ink, and into the paper, story."
Oh my god, this guy.
All writers are tools. Got
it. He's stunned by the expression. The two of you are able to take your leave. All right. Back at the
tuna-reeking room.
Office. Oh, it's so bad, man. None of the windows have been opened, and it's like a warm day. It's all you can smell.
Come on.
And when you ask Herbert to get you some of the papers, he's got like there's like a smudge of grease on the papers as he hands them over to you, and he's licking his fingers. What do you? So do you want to make? Yeah, it was a navigation or education.
Let's try this navigate.
Yeah, go for it.
Hard success.
Hey, pretty good. Okay, let's see. So
specifically, I'm just trying to find there's records here of all kinds of stuff, and I'm not going to understand the significance of payments to here and there, and trading objects or whatever.
It's a good thought, and exactly like you said, you've done these sorts of things in the past. You'd recognize the builds, and you'd also possibly just recognize the names of some of the companies if he was funding them. So with that in mind, there are no recent expeditions planned. The most recent was in 1923, a major expedition to South America, like significant funding. And since then, nothing more. Additionally, with a hard success, you notice that he booked for himself and a crew of workers, assistants, explorers, etc. to go across to South America. He only booked a single ticket return. Only he came back.
Jeez. Okay, that's a bad sign. I said that I'd been with him to Central America. Could I say that this expedition is the one he went to like after? We were both in Central America, and then I went back off somewhere else, and he was like, "I will journey further south" or something.
This is like the one where he did approach you some time ago at like an event, and you both drunkenly promised each other, like, we go to South America, we'll both go, man, road trip.
Yeah, exactly.
And since then, but it never came to be, and you didn't travel with him on this one, and now you look at this and you go, probably for the best.
So we have a mysterious expedition to South America, which a lot of people leave to, and which only he returns from. And after that, he has a massive personality change. Good news. All right, I'll go and rejoin the others.
Okay. All right. You head down, and as you do, you spot Stan Artemis shaking Brad's hand earnestly as he tries to leave. Three of you can reconvene.
Just very quickly, I don't know if I would have need to have actually asked this, but Stan mentioned another person could have come back to the house. Did we catch that name?
Yeah, Joe Varelli is Stan's reporter, and he headed out to try and have another look around the property and hasn't come back just yet.
Okay, I thought you mentioned, like, when we said he was the only one in the house, and then...
Someone... He said perhaps the Kerwin killer came back because the 30 years ago, the disaster that struck where the father massacred the family, the man was never found. And local rumors suggest he sort of hides out at the different houses, plotting his revenge.
Oh my God.
Plotting his revenge for murdering his own family, that seems like...
And on the law enforcement that, tried to hunt him down.
Right.
That makes sense.
The man was a bit unhinged.
You don't say. Well, once we've reconvened and shared our information, I'll say, look, we've clearly got the makings of something a little sinister between cursed houses and failed expeditions. What does confuse me is that there seems to be two distinct threads here. We have the expedition and, returning and suddenly having a personality change. Perhaps he saw something or understood something. I know of people who have witnessed things like what the three of us have witnessed when they venture far out into uninhabited places. But we also have this cursed house, and it seems to be entirely unrelated to the Amazon or to South America. I don't...
Unless
perhaps...
the house drove Mr. Gauntlet to South America.
That is a possibility.
I'd be more inclined to, based on the pattern we've seen so far, with Mr. Corbett having a similar adventure and bringing something back with him, I think that's the theory we should lean toward right now. If there is some kind of entity or item that's come back from South America, well, that's in our experience usually the main cause of all sorts of nastiness.
Why would there be two families before Mr. Gauntlet that murdered each other, unless the thing from South America came with the first man?
I think perhaps it's an element of theater. Forgive me, I haven't met the good Mr. Artemis, but from the impression that you've given me, it seems like he would know how to milk a story. Perhaps if we looked into the history of any of the houses here, we could find a case of murder or two. I don't know. It's a violent time,
Quite right.
Perhaps
Gamwell is the crime capital of America.
Of course. From gun runners to bootleggers.
The tuna sandwiches that are just too big, criminally large tuna sandwiches.
At incredibly low prices. Make your way down to the Gamwell General Store. This seems like a good time as any to have a word with the sheriff. And I would suggest that we also make a quick report that this Joe Varelli character has been wandering about the house, because that way, if we break anything, we can blame it on Joe. All right.
Alibis are helpful. Also, I might go check us in to our motel if you're going to go speak to the sheriff.
That's a good idea. Well, let's meet back here, and then once we're checked in and ready, we'll head towards the manor itself and see if we can't uncover exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Okay.
So Monkey's going to head to the boarding house and make sure that your room's prepared. Brad and Isabella, you're both going to the sheriff.
Exactly.
Rock and roll. All right. So the sheriff, everything's basically positioned along the same street, and the sheriff's office can be found towards the end of the road. It's a single-story building, and towards the back of it there is a jail cell, but it's really a drunk tank where they'd hold a couple of people who got a little bit carried away and crashed their car on a rural one-way street, you know, like around a tree. They don't get a lot of crime around here. As you step up and knock, the door is opened by a very stern-faced man. This is Sheriff William Whitford, and the man clearly doesn't have time to tend to random stories. He glares at the two of you and says, "What do you want?"
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, sir. We're working on behalf of the Dodge brothers, and we had a couple of questions for the local law enforcement professional relating to some cases, and also to report a potential crime.
What's the crime?
Well, as we understand it, Mr. Joe Varelli of the Gazette has been snooping around the Cornwaith property, and we just wanted to alert you to make sure that we're concerned of a possible break and enter.
I don't entertain possibilities. Let me know when he's actually done something.
Well, that's fine. We're going to go up there anyway. Dr. Brad Fogarty, by the way, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. We're just here, as my good cousin said, investigating disappearance of Mr. Cornthwaite, and we were wondering if there's anything you can tell us and what concerns you might have about the man's safety.
He crosses his arms pointedly, not shaking your hand or anything, and just shakes his head. And especially he says, "So I'm to understand that the two of you from out of town have come to my office immediately to level claims against a gentleman you've never met while pursuing an investigation that really should be my concern. Is that right?"
That appears to be about the sum of things.
Great. Well, listen, here's how things work around here. I know the people of Gamwell. I know the people from the surrounding area. Joe Varelli has an eye for stories and everything else, but he's not a troublemaker. The two of you, I don't know. When did you arrive in Gamwell?
Oh, just today?
Where were you last night?
Boston, I suppose.
I see. And the both of you traveled here in the same vehicle?
We both traveled here in the same vehicle, yes.
Could anyone confirm you were in Boston last night and that you only left this morning? A letter you could give me, or send someone to send me a message?
You could call my mother.
What's her number?
I will give him my mother's phone number.
Good. I'll see to this. Listen, Arthur Cornthwaite will have gotten himself into some trouble, or maybe he's just gallivanting elsewhere. This really isn't your concern. We'll look after our own, and the two of you can go on your merry way.
Thank you very much for your time, Sheriff. And I guess we'll take our leave.
He steps back inside, and as the door swings shut, he plants himself in a chair that looks out, like over the single road, and you can see him watching you as you walk away.
Well,
the last thing he
fair
sees, he
enough.
reaches over for the phone.
He's probably a very busy man, maybe we shouldn't have bothered him.
Yes, well, charming character, isn't he?
All right.
Yeah, he probably has a lot on his plate.
In Gamwell? He said himself he knows everyone in town.
Crime capital
Although
of
I'm interested
America.
in what terrible thing might have happened last night.
Who can say?
All right, so at the boarding house, it is run by the same people that run the mum and pop shop. So you head round the back of it, and there is a single-story long row of houses, very motel-esque. A woman is coming out of one of the rooms after having just cleaned it, and as she sees you, she kneels down and says, "I'm sorry, can I help you?"
Yeah, we have some rooms booked for us. We're the lawyers.
Oh, well, aren't you just a little investigator? Yeah, sure. Why don't you come with me and I'll get you all checked in?
Thank you.
And she walks over and begins to take the name and everything. Is it just the one room?
I believe, well, there's 3 of us, so it depends on how many, fit in a room and what has been paid for, I guess.
It's just the Dodge brothers were pretty clear. Only the one room's been paid for. Now I can arrange for an extra one for you if you want your own. Or if your mom and dad want their own rooms.
Oh, no, I think they're fine, in the same room. They are mom and dad, after all.
Okay, all right. I'll get that sorted. They will square up another room. It's
if they can fit a cot in the room that we've got, I'm like, I sort of like, if there's room for 3 to sleep, that's fine. If we need an extra room, that's also fine. Whatever's easier.
We got tons of rooms. That's not the issue, and they are not very expensive. We pride ourselves on the bargains. We do have a few rules though while you're staying at the house. We are a respectable community, so there'll be no drinking, no mud being traipsed through the house, no unmarried couples in any of the same rooms. Let's see, and they list off like a whole string of arbitrary rules, basically to keep the place clean, and they are very ordered about all of it. But after that, they're willing to draw up a cot under the terms that the 3 of you are a, mother-father-child relationship, which is not even remotely the case.
I mean, they've made the assumption, and I think Monkey just doesn't challenge that assumption. It's just like,
Okay. Yep. All right. A key is given to you, and you are told you are not to exit or leave the rooms after dark.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Edith Haggerty.
Edith.
You can call me Edie, though.
Edie. You can call me Monkey. Everyone else does.
That's sweet.
It's a nickname. Mostly. Miss Edie, what do you know about, Mr. Cornthwaite?
Oh, well, you don't need to concern yourselves with that sort of thing. Suffice to say, he's an exciting explorer who's off on another expedition.
Oh, he's an explorer. What kind of expeditions has he been on? Has he brought back anything interesting?
Oh, heaps of things. Understand, what an explorer does is goes to far away places and discovers exciting locations and things. Now, in the past, Mr. Cornthwaite has brought back all manner of things, some of which have been donated to the library to be seen, and others he collects for himself and for his very rich friends.
Oh, he has rich friends. Have you met any of them?
Oh, well, not really. Gamwell's a bit out of the way. Some come through town, and I've, on occasion, had a celebrity or two stay here at the Haggerty house, and she leans over so that you can see a portrait that's put on a wall, like a diner, where a celebrity ate at. You do not recognize the person. They could be anyone.
That's really exciting. You must be so proud to have such an amazing place like this.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Are there any interesting stories about Gamwell that you can tell me? It's the first time I've been, and I'm just kind of interested to learn about the town.
Well, sure. I mean, it's a small and a sleepy little place. We have annual sort of fairs and festivals which you might enjoy. They will tell you about the local life which is basically farmers that occasionally come together for like community events. Given they think of you as they have a kind of like a motherly instinct towards a child, they won't go into any of the more sordid history unless you want to make a charm roll, or you want to basically tell them.
I was gonna be like, that's cool. You don't have any like ghost stories or anything like that? I kind of like spooky ghost stories. They're sort of fun.
Well, ghost stories will keep you up at night, so they're not really. I don't believe in the demons that some of the other people do around here. You see, we're a God-fearing family, and I don't abide by sinner talk.
I understand. I do. You seem like very God-fearing people, and I wouldn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. So I'm sorry I asked.
Oh, it's not a worry. She pinches your cheek just a little too hard and gives it a twist. She says, "Why don't you run along and find your mom and dad now? Oh, okay. And don't forget the key." And she passes over you the key to the room.
Thank you. Is it a complicated key?
No. You can get through any of these doors in this whole damn town.
I'll pocket the key and then I'll trundle on off.
Okay. You head back to rejoin Brad and Isabella, who are out by the car, and I think the next step is to go out to the Manse. Is that right?
Yeah. Jump in and get on the road.
Well, as the three of you pile into the car and begin to pull out of Gamwell and head north, we will take a short 10-minute break, and then we will be right back to find out what lurks the Fitzgerald Manse.
Wait.
Bum. Pew. And we are back. So, as the three of you depart the small town of Gamwell and begin to drive up towards the Fitzgerald Estate, a storm, of course, begins to grow. And by the time you're pulling out of town and heading on to one of the more rural tracks, every track is rural, rain is beginning to around the car. Isabella, you're driving again?
That's right.
Okay. It should be about a half-hour drive, 45 minutes, but it's an hour before you finally arrive at the estate.
Right.
There are buildings on either side of it, the neighboring homes, one of which has a couple of horses in the area, and the other one is like corn and wheat, which, tall grasses that sway a little bit in the now cutting breeze. Go ahead.
Dave, before we get to the house, can I please make a natural world check? I would just like to try and determine whether this sudden rain it sounds silly. Is this like a natural rain, or are we talking something like sinister here? We're in a Cthulhu campaign. Don't make fun of me.
Definitely sinister, but whether or not it's naturally sinister or unnaturally so.
Exactly. Make a natural world check, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm actually pretty good at natural worlds. An extreme success.
Ooh, I do not have the thing up. Yeah, nice. This is a natural storm. You saw it beginning to build before you left, and it's not crazy. It's not like you can't walk in this. It's just you're going to get wet, and the ground around you is beginning to turn to mud a bit.
Could I parlay that natural world check into when we park, I park in a place where we're not going to get bogged?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Ooh,
so
he got you, Dave. He got you.
He tricked me into giving him a role he was good at. Then when he got a really good result, he finangled genuinely useful information out of me.
It's almost like he knows how these games work, and maybe has also run them plenty of times before.
Yeah, definitely. So the Fitzgerald Estate, as you begin to pull up to it, is a fairly large property. It does not have any farmland on it, but it has a large and beautiful garden of ornamental trees imported from all across the country and the world that fill the interior. Along the outskirts, the entirety of the perimeter, there is a tall stone wall which is tipped with iron spikes that jut up towards the stars to keep intruders at bay. Additionally, at the front, there is a heavy iron gate with a padlock around it. last thing I'll say is that there is a second car, which as you turn into park, has done a worse job because it probably parked when it was dry and is now almost completely bogged as the mud begins to build up around it.
Okay.
Just a quick question for clarification. This is Mr. Cornthwaite's house. Is the Fitzgerald Estate his house, or
Yes,
is
good
it like
flag.
a gated community?
No, so the Fitzgerald Manse is named because that was the first family that built it. Arthur Cornthwaite bought it in after a while. Yes, sorry, I should have clarified that. This is his house.
Okay.
All right, what do the three of you want to do?
All right. Well, once we're parked in as secure a position as I can possibly get it,
It's pretty
I
good.
suppose let's get out and head inside as best we can. Get out of the car. Can I quickly check this other car as well? Like, there's not. I assume this is Joe Pirelli's car. There's no one inside it, right?
You walk up to it and peer in through some of the windows. You can see rain that's beginning to gather on the roof trickles inside a little bit as one of the windows wasn't sealed properly. There is no one inside. On the left hand, sorry to be the right. No, they drive. Which side's the steering wheel in the States? It's on the right, yeah?
Left. No, it's
It's on the left. It's on the left. Okay. On the right-hand side, there is a cardboard box with some newspaper clippings in it, and what looks like a pistol, like a small revolver weighted on top of it, holding them down. And the water that's trickling across the roof and running along the interior is drip, drop, dripping just on top of the paper.
You can tell whether a car is in the States or not because they're using a gun as a paperweight. That's the main tell.
That's how you
Now,
can tell. You
speaking
gotta
of-
check license plates.
Speaking of firearms, we knew we were coming into a situation where we were going to be asked to investigate. Is it reasonable that I would have bought my pistol, Dave?
Yeah, a pistol definitely. Any more heavy artillery, I'd probably need a luck roll to given a shit. But yeah, definitely a
Just
pistol.
Old Faithful. Great.
I am making the assumption that we still have some of our equipment from the last
Yep.
time we went and bought a bunch of stuff.
You guys had leather
Heavy
armor,
leather coats.
basically heavy
Yeah.
leather coats, which is 1 point of resistance. And Brad, didn't you have like nunchucks or something? Didn't you get something so you could bonk people?
Nunchucks?
I had a nightstick.
I think you had.
was
Oh, that was it. You had a nightstick.
Yeah.
A
I
similar
had a
thing.
bandolier
Oh,
of knives.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, if you're offering them, I'll take some
I'm not.
nunchucks.
I'm not.
Probably for that,
I
right?
will go into the back of the car though, and as we sort of open up the boot, assuming that we're kind of prepared for this sort of thing, swing out my coat. I probably had the pistol in a box in the boot. Take that, load it, take a nightstick, take a torch, the same equipment that we had when we were going into the last thing, and encourage the others to do the same as I pop the collar to keep the rain off. And then I guess, look, let's head inside and see if we can track down Joe Varelli.
Sure. All right, so walking down the main path where the car would turn in, you quickly find that the gate has been padlocked shut, and the Dodge brothers either didn't have or just neglected to give you the key to the gate. You only have the key to the
What?
front door and the back door.
All right, Monkey, is this within your skill set? Do you think you could open this?
Is the gate padlocked? Is it locked? Is
Padlocked. Just a chain drawn around it.
I mean, what time of day is it?
4 p.m.
It's rainy. How many people are around?
I think we're in
Just
a pretty
these two.
isolated
You're on
area.
like a there's no one around. The closest house is like half a mile away at least. There is no one around.
And we have permission to be here if, I don't know if your primary concern is ethics here, but
Oh no!
Our
Don't
ethics?
not another ethics.
no,
We're not getting into that again.
discussions.
Okay, I think Monkey will turn around to the other two and be like, please do not ask. And then I'm going to pull out a set of lockpicks and put on my gloves and go
You like
to-
hunch down in the
Yep.
the
'Cause
rain just in
this
front of
will be
it.
the first time they have actually seen me do this.
Last time
Yes,
the door just
yes.
opened.
Magic.
I did it.
All right, can you
found
give
a
me a
key.
can you give me a locksmithing roll? And Brad, Isabella, what's your reaction to your not cousin, their new skill set?
Cousin and
Nibbling.
Nibbling,
Nibbling,
that's
yeah.
the one.
I think I'm really proud. I guess I'll kind of nudge Bradley and say, you see, we're a resourceful bunch, our family.
Yes, yep, there's nothing we can't do. While Monkey's looking at the lock, I'm wondering if there are any footprints around leading from the reporter's car, leading from Borelli's car.
Good thought. You could give me a track roll.
Good.
Shot.
Or maybe simply spotting hidden signs
So-
that someone's passed through.
Yeah, that's fine. Spot hidden will detect any passage. You would need a track to note where they went and at what time and blah blah blah. But yeah, go for spot hidden.
All right. As I accidentally closed the Roll20 tab, I have to load into
Well-
it like a fool.
Well, while you open it,
Monkey, do you want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead as well.
I'm going to start just strolling up and down the length of the front of the house. I think that Joe Borelli got in, presumably, otherwise why would his car still be out here? I'm not an experienced tracker, but I am an experienced climber. Can I try and pick up where I think Joe would have climbed over with a climb check or with a survival? Like, I think climb is probably the one.
You clever cookie.
And try to tell if, like, someone has scrambled up the wall here. Like,
You
is there
can.
just yeah.
I would say it is a hard climb roll because
Okay.
it is kind of twisting the use of it, but it's a good thought. And if you succeed at all, though, you will have a path over.
Great. Okay.
So go ahead and make a climb check.
That's
Okay.
just a regular success, and I'm not going to luck it down to a hard.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the top. So Monkey, do you want to spend 2 points of luck, or are you interested in pushing the roll?
I've spent it.
Okay, all right. You make short work of it. The rain's slick and it drips down, getting inside of it. But with a twist and a click, you're able to rattle the chain out, and the gate can be swung open. As this happens, Brad gets to the car and begins to walk back, carefully watching the ground. But it's already turning to slurry, and the tracks are hard to find. I take it you don't want to spend luck for that, Jackson? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nah, should be right.
All right. You walk back towards Monkey as Isabella, running a hand along the wall. You look for the closest place to the car where he would have ascended, but there's no sign of him going over. That said, the handholds are pretty easy to get, and once you're at the highest point, the iron spikes, which look menacing, are spaced wide enough apart that you could get a leg over and slip past without being cut, unless
Okay.
you slip.
That's
You have a
good to
way
know.
over if you need it, but the gate's open now.
Great. Could I say while I have that time, I actually I didn't think to bring rope. I don't see why I would have brought that realistically. So I just dropped it.
You could make a luck roll for me to see if you might have some in the car.
All right, sure. Nah.
No,
And I can't lock
unfortunately.
it down because I get the problem.
No,
Chasing a moving
no luck,
target.
unfortunately.
Oh well, no rope today. Maybe there's some inside. I'll drop back down, congratulate Monkey on their resourcefulness. I suppose let's head in. Torches out, everyone.
Right.
Put torches
Head
on.
into the garden.
and-
Now, I'm hoping that we might see some gum trees in here.
Bits of the sun are still creeping through the clouds which have grown above, and it is daytime. It's just darkened by the storm. You walk out and into the garden, and it's thick and lush, and water drips from it all throughout the foliage, causing it to sort of sit low towards the ground with the added weight. And you can constantly hear the from different areas where the underbrush carries it down onto the floor. Through it, you eventually make out the house itself. And it is a squat, two-story mansion that looks to have visibly shifted in its foundations over time, the wear and tear, since it was originally built. The first floor sort of twists to one side and the other one goes the other way. It is a crooked manse. There are no cars parked around it, but you can see the doors to the front are still closed, and most of the windows are shuttered. Walking through the garden takes a few minutes, and already it's beginning to turn to mud and muck around you, and there's a couple awkward slips as you have to catch yourself. And by the time you get there, you can't help but get your sort of boots and trouser legs pretty coated in thick mud.
This gate we opened, was that
Yeah.
for cars or wagons,
Yes.
or was it just for people?
It was
Okay,
for
so we're
cars.
walking down a road essentially, like
Yes,
a
that's right.
road-sized
That's
kind
right.
of thing.
Oh, hang on. Actually, let me show you guys this. I got a map.
Can I try to
no way.
avoid getting mud
Yes.
on me, please?
Yeah, do you want to give me a
Given that
dexterity
Edie-
roll?
Yeah.
Leaping over puddles.
All right, you guys able to see this?
Ooh, okay.
So this is the Fitzgerald property. You can see. This is supposed to be picking up my cursor. Anyway, this is the gate which you've opened,
Yep.
and your car is now parked sort of here-ish, and Joe's car is just—they're not this big, but you know that sort of
Yeah,
thing. Just here, and you're beginning to walk your way up. All of these portions of foliage are fairly thick, and even the sections along here have lots of sort of chest height bushes and things from all across the continent and abroad. So this gate here has now been opened. All right.
As we're going,
Monkey, you're able to step from stone to stone, and basically you would get it a little bit on like the soles of your boot, but easily kicked off. You are clean. Wet,
I'm
but
like sodden behind you. As we're going, I'll say to the others, listen, let's take a look around the grounds before we head inside. I'd rather have a clear idea of what's lurking, in case there's any mad people coming back for revenge against law enforcement, like we figured out might be a possibility. I've immediately identified from this map a couple of things I'd like to look at, Dave. There's a fallen tree here that I'm curious about. There's a shed over here. And can you tell me what exactly this and this thing is? This sort of area over here? That looks like a well, maybe?
sure,
Or
yeah.
is-
So, as you suggested, that's a well, and this is a little bench where you could sit and muse
Okay. All
if
right,
one
good
were
to
so
know.
inclined.
Let's check out. So we're coming along this big main road. Let's head right, and I just want to have a quick look at the fallen tree before we head over to the shed. Is that all right with the two of you? Do you mind indulging my curiosity for a little bit?
Well, I don't mind sticking together somewhat, and whatever grabs your curiosity, I'm sure also grabbed Varelli's, so it's a
Right.
fine idea.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Excellent.
So by this point, you're sodden. Your hair is plastered to each of your scalps, and Brad and Isabella, you both have mud gathering on the bottom of your boots, which makes your footsteps heavy and kind of swinging and lumbering. You want to look at the tree first, and are all three of you going to it?
I think Monkey doesn't really care about trees, as in
That's
like
fair.
likes to climb them, but if they're on the ground, not
Where's the
super
fun in that?
helpful. I think Monkey is going to dart off and do a look at the house to try and see if there's like windows open or case the joint.
Sure. Okay. Can you give me a spot hidden roll, I think, just for trying to find it? Or you could do climb to just find a point of entry. Meanwhile, Brad and Isabella, you walk around to this fallen tree. Crouching down in front of it, it looks as if its like roots have been broken up and out of the ground, as if a great force has levered it over. It could have been hit by a car, would fit it. Or if it were an older tree and the roots had died, possibly severe storms. I could take a natural world roll,
Yeah,
or
I was about to say, it feels within my wheelhouse as a natural worldy person.
sure. So you're going to do that. And Brad, what are you looking at?
I guess I'll just keep trying to spot hidden signs of humans.
Okay, all right. Make a spot hidden roll. It's going to be hard now because of the storm that's come in and changed things.
Would
Ooh.
climb will give me entry? Will spot hidden give me anything additional, or is that what I'm kind of looking at this point?
Look, you are looking for a point of entry. I'll describe what you see regardless. Climb gives you a guaranteed in. I will say spot hidden is just an assessment of the area, and you'd still need to make a climb roll to actually get up anywhere. If you're looking for just points of entry and things around the exterior, though, spot hidden probably suits better.
Yeah, I think I'm not trying to climb in. I'm casing it
Yeah.
at the
okay.
moment, so
Go for spot
I'll
hidden.
go with spot hidden, even though it's worse than my climb.
All right. Oof. All right. So from the top, Isabella, this
Yes.
tree appears to. It seems like it's actually relatively healthy. The roots where they've been broken out of the ground were still large. They haven't atrophied. Become thin over time, and you know of several people that transplant trees and move them into gardens outside of their natural habitat. They don't take, and the roots don't have far enough to spread, so they can be tipped over in storms. That might have been your first thought. this isn't that. The roots are long enough. However, it appears to have been infected by some sort of mold or rot, which has taken root in the trunk itself. And there's like a veneer of thick water along the outside, which you are cautious to touch just in case it is in some way poisonous. You can see that the whole interior is logged with it, and pieces of the bark have broken away, and you can see portions of it still inside.
This is unusual enough that I'm not immediately, this is a Peruvian, roof rot or something. This is an unknown. Something is wrong with this tree that I don't recognize.
That's right, you don't recognize it. And it is clearly very, very sick. And even then, it looks as though something hit it to knock it over. You can't see any tracks from a car to send it, but it's still fallen, and it shouldn't have.
Is this tree possibly from South America? Could this...
No, it appears to be a local...
All right. Well, it still could have spread from... I'll turn and sort of whisper to Brad. Something's infected this tree. Something I don't recognize. There's something wrong in this garden already. Gosh darn it, these places and strange vegetables.
Well, that's not really a cause for concern, is it? If Arthur is indeed missing, then he probably hasn't been gardening.
Well, we're worried about something coming back from a distant place. Wasn't that the theory? I don't recognize what this is, and it's killed a tree. It's possible. At the very least, there might be something toxic in the garden, which we should be careful of. I had an old friend, another explorer, who did a lot of searches through abandoned tombs and used to like bringing back the traps and setting them up in his house. Made dinner parties very adventurous. So I wouldn't put it past Arthur to have something toxic in here.
Well, that's good to know. But if there's nothing to indicate any sign of Varelli or otherwise, I think we should proceed into the house.
No, so, Brad, what you notice as you're looking around the area, first of all, there are no immediately visible signs of tracks. Unfortunately, the mud has just turned this place into a mess, and the three of you traipsing around through it hasn't helped either. Unless you want to spend the 10 points of luck or consider pushing it, you won't be able to find any definitive signs of passage. However,
regardless, a huge amount of luck spare, so I will leave that go.
Okay. You will notice, though, that there is a door at the back. There is an entrance to a cellar beneath, like where they'd store wood or things. And as you pause for a moment and listen over the rain, you notice something that had been kind of there in the background, or an absence at least. There is no sign of any wildlife in the area. Birds should be taking shelter during the storm. Rats should be scurrying underneath the foliage and taking shelter, but there is no movement, except for the three of you. Can you give me a small sanity roll? Just a microscopic
What's a small
one.
Sanity roll?
Just a little one.
I've never heard of such
a tipple.
thing.
Okay, take 1 point for me.
Wow, rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Monkey, do you want to spend 2 points of luck? Or would you like to push the roll?
What's the penalty of pushing the roll?
Pushing the roll is skirting around the outside and moving right up close to the windows and risking breaking something and damaging the property, which you were explicitly told not to do. Yeah?
Monkey wasn't there to be explicitly told not to break things. So, unless Cousin Isabel specifically told Monkey not to break shit.
I don't think I mentioned it. I thought it was implied.
And you know what? This seems like a kind of hilarious.
Well, also,
role
to your eye,
push.
Monkey, the place looks kind of falling apart already. Like, what's another window? All right, go ahead and push the roll.
Hey.
Okay, you're good. So with that, you are able to see, you spot the front and back doors, which can be gotten into. All of the windows have been shuttered from the outside, like not hurricane force, but big ones that move across to protect the glass. Possibly you might install this when you were going away for some time to protect the area, especially with all these trees around it. You don't want to risk something breaking it. But you can see on the second level, while they've been closed, they haven't been locked. So if you were able to climb up, you could easily get inside any number of these buildings.
Am I able
rooms.
to see whether or not someone else has made ingress into the house?
You see no tracks, and no one has broken any of the windows or doors. But nothing definitive.
So
Okay.
we're still unsure where Joe is.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, what would the three of you like to do?
I'll wave towards Monkey and say, "We're just gonna check the shed, then we'll be back."
Well, okay, I'll come if you want. I've done my looking.
All right, good on you. Let's have a quick look. Come on, and we'll head towards the shed.
Okay. You traipse your way back through all the mud and the muck, and soon find a small, like, outhouse-sized shed with rain pouring over the side of it, and it is locked.
I'll head over and kind of, I'll fumble in my pockets, and I'm gonna start testing the keys that were given to me by the Dodge brothers. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna just sort of say, Joe, you're not in there, are you?
There's no response from inside.
So he's
Any of
dead.
the keys work?
No, these are for the front and back door of the house.
Well, Monkey, you don't want to impress me dreadfully again, do you? And I'll sort of step back and gesture at the lock.
Really?
I don't
We
know
have
how to
a-
ask.
We have a right to be here. I don't think it's a problem.
Oh, I don't mind. It's just,
All right, make a
Perfect.
locksmith roll. Easy. Once again, opens, and the door can be moved outward. And inside, you can see there is sacks of fertilizer and things for tending to the garden, shovels, general equipment, some axes, just gardening and general purpose equipment. There is rope, Isabella, if you still want
good
it.
to know. I will sort of. No, I'm not going to grab a coil of rope, but I know there's some here if I need it. I will. I'll quickly say, Monkey, you're a master at your craft. Before I step in, I will nudge the sacks of fertilizers with a boot and say, "Well, this is Plan B," referring to our
No.
burning the house down last time.
2 for 2.
I suppose nothing interesting in here. Let's head to. Is it worth checking the well, do you think, or should we just head straight inside?
I'm inclined to get in before we get any wetter and muddier, personally.
I don't think we could get any wetter. I think I have quite long hair. I've got like a grunge thing going on. Just like sodden hair drifting around me. All right, let's get inside.
Okay. The three of you traipse back towards the front of the house, step up underneath the eaves, and stomping some of the mud off, you can use the key to open the door into the house. So immediately inside, you can see there is a long hallway which heads and connects all the different rooms. There is a set of stairs that goes up to the second floor, and to either side there are rooms scattered throughout the area. This is a large house, and at one time it was probably beautiful, but now it is warped with time. There's cracks all throughout the plaster, and paintings which hang framed along the walls are twisted and askew. Additionally, you can see on the ground there is a pair of shoes which have been kicked off to the side, and a couple of scattering bits of mud around them where they've landed. Where do you guys want to begin? What do you want to do?
I think I spend a minute to dry myself off quickly, sort of wring out, the worst of the water.
Is the mud on the shoes fresh, or is it dry?
Make a natural world, track, something like that. Roll for me, please.
I can do a natural world. Oh, the spooky house. The map is revealed. Never a good sign.
Getting your bits.
All right, natural world coming up. That's a fail. Natural world, pulling its weight though.
Oh yeah, it can't do everything. Not immediately. Not immediately sure, unfortunately.
All right.
All right. So let me just throw to the this. So the entrance is just behind you to the south. That's the doors going up, and then there are rooms all throughout the area that you can begin to have a look through and explore.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do? Is it like? Sorry, go ahead.
I'll be so bold as to call out, Mr. Varelli. We're here from the Dodge Brothers. We'd like to know if you're here.
You yell, and you can feel or hear the call deadened by the walls around it, but it carries throughout the house. Can you make a listen roll for me?
It's very convenient. Listen. I can.
Oh, good.
Okay. The first thing you hear is there is drips from all throughout the area where water from the storm outside is falling into the house and damaging some of the rooms. The second thing you hear is a muted, from somewhere in one of the upper levels, and you only hear that with the hard.
Well, that's not good.
It's almost
Alright.
immediately drawn up and stopped.
I think he might be in a spot of trouble. Let's go find him.
Where was he? And I'm gonna pull out my gun and the torch.
My.
Actually, I'll tell you what, Bradley, hold this, and I'll shove the torch into your hand, pull out the gun and the nightstick.
All right, I'll lead the way up the stairs looking for the source of the sound.
Okay. You all three are going upstairs?
Yeah, I think I'm rushing. If someone's in trouble, we gotta
Okay.
I would
run
go
directly into danger.
I would like to be as unseen as possible.
Noted. Okay. Do you want to give me a stealth roll, Monkey?
Sure.
Probably a good idea. I think cousin Bradley and I are just thundering up
Let's
the
go.
stairs.
Headlong into
You're
danger.
moving carefully, Monkey, and the interior of the house is dark, especially with all the shutters. No ambient light gets in, so it's only the torch which reveals the stairs as the three of you dart up them and onto the landing on the second level. Immediately, you can hear the ground beneath you creaking as you move around, and one by one, you begin to check the different doors on the upper level. The first you open is directly in front of you, and inside it is the master bedroom. There's a large four-poster bed inside it, a big fireplace to the back, which is currently unlit, but no sign of Varelli. Are you guys going to split up and start going through the different rooms, or are you sticking together?
You in trouble, right? He's in trouble.
Yeah, well, I heard a muffled sound.
And just get the doors open then. Come on, and we'll split. And can we see the upstairs floor, Dave?
Yeah, let me move
on
you
roll
across.
20. Because if it's like a corridor, we're gonna start tearing open doors. I think.
Yo, let's put you there. Okay. So
I'll go left. You go right.
these are the stores. This is the first one. Give me just a moment. Let's update. So this one. Behave yourself. This door opened, leads to the master bedroom, and I'll open all the doors because you're going to go sprinting through them. All right. So this door here is the master bedroom. You can see the fireplace at the back and the four-poster bed is just the side of it. This one here, and the two are connected by a through passage, is like a den, a place where one could retire and relax. There is a shotgun hung up over the mantelpiece, and you can see a grate at the bottom, which would allow warm air from the neighboring room to flow into this one. Beneath that, as you begin to all split up and go different directions, Brad, you see in the bottom left, there is a trophy room. It is filled to the brim with the artifacts that Cornthwaite has brought back from his overseas expeditions. They're piled up in tall bookshelves and things. Once again, though, no sign of the missing Varelli. On the right, it's 18. You see there is a another one of the bedrooms, which has a pair of single beds for guests to stay in. And then to the south, in this room just here, it is a bathroom. You can see a bath towards the back. And still there has been no sign of the gentleman. Continuing to just search through room after room? Or do you guys want to look closer at any of the ones you've gone into already?
So, I mean, if we don't spot anything, I'll kind of walk back out. Bradley is not... Joe, you need to make noise. We can't hear you. Where are you?
There's no response.
Lost.
Call in my room as well. Mr. Borelli, you in here?
You could make another listen roll. Actually, any number of you can make a listen roll if you want, or you can go for spot hidden to try and look for something.
I might go spot hidden if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm just frantically searching through the rooms. Maybe there's Arthur's the kind of person who might have a secret passage in here or something, behind a jeez. All right. Go for spot hidden. No.
All right. You find the final bedroom down towards this section here, and with that, you've searched the upper levels. There is no sign of him. There is no suggestion that he was moving here, and if he removed his boots downstairs, he's left no footprints now on the upper level. Additionally, you can't hear anything more except for the occasional drip from the rain in the storm outside running down the windows and falling to the floor. Brad, you are still certain that you heard something.
All right, I guess we should try the next room.
Right. You mean head back downstairs? This is concerning.
Are there no more rooms up here? We've
You have covered these ones.
Oh,
yeah,
all of them?
we searched the whole top floor.
Well, that's not ideal. Well, hold on. I definitely heard a sound up here. We opened all wardrobes and stuff, and
you can continue. So now the four of you are going to just begin to have a more focused search. This is no longer the flat sprint through room after room.
Four of us?
Sorry, the three of you. That's my mistake. Hey, don't mind.
I mean,
I definitely heard a sound. I don't mean to be insistent, but I heard something up here.
No,
I think we should make sure.
Let's go through everything.
Can I push that spot hidden then?
Yeah, is that functionally what we're all doing?
Well, what you guys are basically doing is now spending quite a bit of time looking closer. So yes, that will be the push is the risk is the extended time, so that makes sense to me. Just to go back through the rooms, you saw there were 2 guest bedrooms, the master bedroom. There is the trophy room and a bathroom, a lounge which looks out over the gardens, as well as the den and master, if I didn't already list that. And those are all on the upper area.
Those are all upstairs.
Yar. Big house. All right, do you want to go ahead and re-roll that art? Nice. Brad and Isabella, what are the two of you doing?
After you, Bradley.
Can I push my list, or is listen less helpful now that we're actually searching?
Again, it's just spending time doing it. But yeah, you can.
Okay, I'll have another go at listening then. As we're calling out for Borelli and asking, waiting for the same sound. Looking for the same sound I just heard.
Oh, good
hear it.
stuff.
Okay.
I mean, my response was going to be, I was going to try and flavor a navigate to try and think if there was secret tunnels in this house, where would they be? But I don't know how
that works, man.
legitimate that is. All right. Yeah, failure. Yeah. I don't know. It's their secret. That's the point.
So, Monkey succeeded, their spot hidden, and you were checking the sort of the bedrooms and the upper levels when we left you. First of all, you spot there's a number of valuable items in here, shiny and otherwise. There is just straight cash kept in some of the cupboards and things, and there are small silver ornaments and plates, things like that, scattered throughout the area. Additionally, the door that you opened into the master bedroom and the one that connects to it have both spread a line of white crystals along the ground that are now scattered across the floors. Bending down and looking at it closely, you can quickly identify that it is salt. Additionally, you find the shotgun in the other room, and there's also a handout, which I'm going to share with you, which you find in the fireplace towards the back as you're looking up to see if anyone moved from up here. Isabella, you have a look for any secret passages or anything. You don't find any, but you are aware that this is the sort of house that very well may have one. And based on the architecture, the layout of this upper level, you actually think that there is space behind some of the walls. And there seems to be an area where a couple of the rooms are too short. There is a secret, there's a room that's been gated off somewhere up here. It's just kind of hard to figure it out.
Oh, man.
So, Monkey, you find this scrap of paper sort of balled up and near the fireplace. Bradley, as you're walking along, you hear your footsteps creaking above the floorboards, and then suddenly they are deadened, and the ground doesn't sort of twist. You take a step back and it's deadened again, and you begin to realize that something's flowed into the ground around you and is now filling what was a vacuum so that it could shift down and up. You hear it again, and then you lean down.
These are like floorboards
Yeah, all throughout the upper level.
that are kind of leaning and twisted.
Well, no, they were leaning and twisted when you stepped first, and then when you stepped
Yeah.
again, they suddenly weren't, and then you step backwards and they aren't
Oh,
twisting
no.
anymore.
I hate it.
What do you want to do?
I'll lean down and investigate further because this is
Okay.
concerning.
These are old floorboards, and you're able to get a tool or something, or even just get your hands under it, and you can begin to pry it up and twist it away. As you look down, you are looking at a sheen of water or mold or something that has filled the underlevel, unmoving. It seems to have just flowed into this entire under area. It looks very similar to the tree which you found collapsed outside.
The potentially toxic stuff.
But no, Varelli bound and gagged and tied under the floorboards. Okay. Well, if we have any... does anyone have any orange tape? We shouldn't step here. Some kind of the same sickness that affected that tree is gotten in and seems to have gotten into the floorboards here. So just don't step in this area if you can help it.
Can do. Now, there was a handout provided. Have we heard of this, or?
That was Monkey?
Currently, Monkey's having a read over it, and Art, could you share it with us, please?
Absolutely. Whom it may concern, I am writing this statement in the event of my joining my staff and my expedition members in death. I, Arthur Cornwaite, being of sound mind and body, no time for formality or legalisms, it is the thing I must tell you of. What is sanity when faced with this? I thought I fled from it in that foul green place, that accursed temple, yet somehow it followed me here. I know the signs. There can be no mistake. It is with me. It is a thing so clever, so terrible that melodrama, what's the point? Notes to myself in an empty house. Whoever reads this knows or will know of it, but what you must know is also that it has a weakness so simple, so...
And then it cuts off.
Okay. Crap.
Yeah,
Dramatic readings. Why not?
he should have gotten to the point.
Do you read this out loud? Did you let us know about it in some way? Tell us something?
I found something.
What is it? Now hurry over.
The three of you all gather in the master bedroom, and Monkey shows the piece of paper that they found.
We gather around and read it. And then about a second or two after I've read it, I'll kind of look up and say, we should get out of the house. We need to get out of the house. Whatever's in here, it's still here.
We can't, not as long as Varelli is here and doesn't know what he's up against.
All right. Well, then the weakness. We have to find what the weakness is. Something, a simple weakness. Is there anything out of place that we can find?
You don't even know what it is.
Clearly,
I'm
it's
leaning towards Cousin Isabella. Borelli came in here. He can get himself out. We can leave.
Right.
I don't like it. I feel like we're being called to these places to help put an end to evil things and make sure no one gets hurt. That's what we did at Corbett's house, and
I agree with you, and we're
that's
not
what we
leaving,
should do.
We're not leaving for long. We just need to attack this problem with a little bit of intelligence. If it's inside the house, maybe it'll stay in there for long enough for us. We can get outside. We can try and figure out what this weakness is. I don't want it to be dripping down from the floorboards. I'd rather us be able to run.
I thought ethics is what stopped you acting, Uncle Brad, not what makes you act.
Well, in this case, it is, in fact, making us act to save a fellow human life. I suppose, can we do a quick search of the rest of the main rooms on our way out? Perhaps we can exit out the back door and see if we find any more information there. But I'd like to see if Mr. Varelli is somewhere in the house, obvious at least.
Are the floorboards flat in here as well?
You lean down and creak along them. Yep, they are creaking.
That's good.
Sure. Well, be on the lookout for anything out of the ordinary. We need to find what this weakness is. So, I don't know if you find any more writings or if he's stockpiled, candles somewhere or something. Maybe the fertile... No, that's just probably gardening supplies. Okay. Keep an eye out. Search.
Oh, there's also a shotgun over there.
Maybe its weakness is bullets. In fact, I'll go and I'll check the shotgun and bring that.
You head up to the mantelpiece and find the shotgun. There is a cardboard box of like shells nearby. Yep. Almost all of them have been taken. There's only 2, sort of just in the edge of it, which you're able to take and load into it.
Right.
Pump it.
But they're functional
shots.
normal shots and everything. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. I'll hurry back and hand it over to whichever of you would like to take it. Bradley, I've seen your clay shooting. Would you like it?
I'll have a go.
All right.
Okay. So, do you want to spread around and begin to search the... Are you splitting up and beginning to search the 2 levels, or what?
Yeah, I guess we're going down to the bottom floor now, and we'll start to search that.
You could also
I'm
take
less
some more time
inclined.
to just begin to go section to section along up here as well and see if there's
okay.
anything more to look at. Like, you found the trophy room and stuff, which you didn't really look through. There are rooms
Right.
to look at.
I'll
No,
stay
I
up
think-
here then.
Well, no, I think it's better to stick together, and I think it's just a brief look in each room to see if Varelli is present and obvious, but if not, then maybe we should retreat outside and reassess and strategize.
It's an obvious weakness.
Also, I put some of the shiny things in my pockets. I don't know what they are. They're shiny. I did it before they arrived.
Yoink. No worries. No one will ever notice they're gone. Okay. You have checked the upper floor at least to just see if there are any bodies in any of the rooms, and the 3 of you head back down to the landing and down the stairs. Brad, as you walk over the landing, you notice the floorboards creak once more. The
That's
deadened
good.
section is no longer deadened.
That's fine.
On the lower level, you
There's
find...
still a pried up floorboard though.
Yep.
Can I go look at it?
Yeah, you go over it and you crouch down and look at it, and inside you can see an empty section about yay thick between the ceiling of the lower level and the floor of the upper. On the inside there is a sheen of, although you didn't see it, that same sort of texture on the inside of the tree, but there's no mass of the rot, the mold.
Can I poke it?
Sure. You reach
I
out
have
and
gloves
you reach out and you prod it. Again, there's no mass, it's just the edges. It's more like running a
just
finger along it.
Like, how slippery is it? Is it like a goo? Is it sort of more like it comes off like a fungus? Like, what is it?
It's like a slime, like something that might gather underneath a boat, a muck, but it's more translucent and clear.
If it's
Got
a
a finger and it
mold,
collects along.
maybe it's like bleach or something. In fact, if we pass by the bathrooms, I will check in the cupboards and see if there's like bleach or some other kind of.
Sure, yeah. You go into the bathroom on the upper level, and begin to go through the cupboards and search for bleach or anything. Could you make a chemistry check or something? Do you have something else you might suggest?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking bleach because like that's how you get rid of mold and stuff like that. I hate to be using it all the time. If it's like I'm thinking gardening angles, like how do you get mold out of a tree? Okay, no,
That's
in
a
which
bit
case,
adjacent.
yeah.
You could do that. I don't think that would be bleach. I think there's special stuff for that. I think
You're-
you pour
you're
bleach
right.
in your garden, I reckon they'll do some horrible things to it. I think it would be
I don't have
chemistry.
any
I can
skills,
see. You
I
make
don't
like a
think I-
hard, just general intelligence, like a hard intelligence, just to
Sure,
figure
I'll
out
give
something
that a try.
caustic.
Yeah. No.
Okay. No, unfortunately not. Although as you close the, you're like going underneath the sink and going through things, you go to the bathroom. As you close the mirror, which had like some pills and things behind it, you notice in the dust, which has gathered over the air, clearly no one's been in here for a while, there are the letters NaCl.
Knackle.
Knackle.
Salt.
Sodium
Maybe
chloride.
Sodium chloride is salt.
Oh,
Also,
shit.
Cat got there before we did, but anyway. Yeah.
Okay, that was a grain of salt comment that I saw in chat before. Okay, fuck. And there was salt on the floor before, right? We
Now
were
that you think
standing
of it-
around it. We were probably like crunching across it.
Going back, you can hear it again, and you can see where it was scattered, and it did seem to have been gathered along the floor, like underneath each of the doorways and the windows had it in lines.
Right. Well, that must be it.
All right, well, let's grab a handful.
Well, it might not be because this letter isn't finished. It's
Clearly
a good
didn't
start,
work.
but
Oh, that's a good point.
maybe
It's simple.
we need more than just lines of knackle.
Maybe we can find it more in the kitchen. Otherwise, I hate to push the gardening angle. You use salt. You salt driveways to like keep snow off it. We were just in the gardening shed. Was there like a bag of salt? No, damn
No,
it.
there was not. Well, not that you recognize. You could recheck, but no, none that you noticed. You go along the floorboards and like scrape some, like collect some of the salt in your hands. You have like a few handfuls of it, and you've also gotten like, a splinter from the floorboards, which are all torn up. There is some here gathered in lines and things, but not a wealth of it. And a lot of it's been scattered across the room as you've been walking about it.
Kitchen.
I'm gonna pass it to Monkey because Monkey's got a great throwing arm.
I'll
Okay, you
bundle.
put them in, like, some of
I've
your
probably
pockets.
got a little pouch of things.
Sure.
Also kitchen.
Yeah, let's head downstairs.
Okay. The three of you, having searched the upper level, begin to head back down the stairs to search the rooms on the lower level.
Is there anything? Sorry, just because you said we've all searched. Is there anything interesting in the trophy room?
Oh yeah, tons of stuff. Something shiny, things from abroad, trophies from his expeditions, basically. So there's a number of cool looking things.
Is there something small enough to fit in a pocket that is shiny?
Yeah, there's a little
Lovely.
like a ball of different engraved pieces, and it looks as though parts of it slot apart like a little puzzle box or something.
It's a puzzle box. Gimme.
Into your palm and put into your pocket on the way out and down to the lower level. So yeah, going through the lower level, you find there's a library in one room, a study. There's the hall and cloakrooms to the side, which collect garments. The kitchen has no sign of salt. In fact, its absence is noted, appears to have been removed from the area. There's a pantry, and there's a door that when you try to open it is locked and barred from the other side. All of these you'll begin to search through during the next session, but for the time being, the camera fades back up to the second story and disappears through a wall that was plastered over what once had a door, and inside it, smothered in a strange translucent slime, Joe Varelli suffocates to death and lets out his last gurgle. And when we pick up the session next week,
Didn't see
we'll
it
see if you
plastered
meet
over
the
wall.
same fate.
Girl.
Damn it.
All right, awesome,
We
guys.
tried.
You did.
Let the
you did.
record
You rolled well.
show.
You rolled well.
We tried.
Let no man hold it against you. All right, so we will be back next week for the second session of Cracked and Crook'd Manse. There's something in the walls, and it's Out for Blood. This episode will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. And also, we ran a really cool game on the channel yesterday where we had a bunch of cool people coming in and playing through Deadlight. That's going to be up on the YouTube soon as well, so make sure you check that out. We'll be tearing into clips and all sorts of cool things. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you so much, guys, for playing. And
Thank you, Dave.
I'll see you on the other side.